G'day, welcome back. On this episode I'm going to start to clean all the dirt and muck and stuff underneath the ute, which has built up over the last 30 years. And it sounds a lot easier than it really is, but because I'm on tank water and solar power, I don't have a working pump with pressure up on this top shed. So I have to install a pump in order to then get the pressure washer to clean the outside of the ute. It sounds ridiculous, but you know, it's going to come in handy for many things around the property, not just cleaning this ute. So first things first, I have to install a 5-stage water pump, and that'll give me pressure. So we'll start with that and we'll go from there. So I bought this pump from, you guessed it, Edison's. It's a 5-stage water pump. It's more than capable of making enough pressure for what I need. It's quite a big unit, as you can see. Chinese made, but from what I've heard and read up on, they're quite a reliable unit, and I don't need, this is going to be just a secondary pump. I've got a Davies pump down in the house, but this is just for the shed use, and I'll be using it once in a blue moon. So it doesn't need to be the best pump in the world, but it needs to be reasonably powerful. So anyway, this is it. It's an automatic pump, so it's got all the system in there in order to automate it. We've got a 25mm screw thread there, which is the outlet, and then this is the inlet here. So where I'm going from is 60mm poly pipe, reducing it down to 32mm, and then that will go into the unit and then come back out and go to the tap, which will give me pressure. So yeah, I'll take you out to the tanks where it's all happening, and do a bit of a time lapse, and we'll get this thing installed. All right, so here's the site. As you can see, you got a tank there. It's a 37,000 litre tank, and I've got 3 of these. So I've got plenty of water at 2 here, and then 1 over there as well. So this is where I'll be feeding it off. The current tap is there, and as you can see, it's feeding down to, reducing down to 60mm poly pipe, rural pipe, and then that feeds off into the tank. So what I need to do is reduce the 60mm to the 32mm on an elbow. Go up there, I've got a 600mm concrete tile to put the pump in, and I'll make a cabinet for it to protect it from the frost and stuff. We get a lot of frost up this area, so that can damage your pump. It'll rest there, and then out of that it will go back down to 30mm pipe again, down here, and that will reduce to the 60mm, and then back up to the tap, which will give me hopefully pressure. So I don't know if I'm doing it right. I'm just, that's all I can really do with the current setup here. I don't know if I need to be at the same level as the water, if it's got based on the size of it, it's going to have enough pressure to push it up, and hopefully enough pressure to reduce from the 60 to 30. So anyway, here we go. Alright, so here's the setup. It looks very convoluted, but it actually works. So I've got the pump there, got the original pipe coming in from the tank that feeds in. I had to bring it across, and then that's the inlet, and then goes into the system, and this is the outlet, goes down into the original fitting. I decided to bypass the original pipe, used to go straight across, and then so what I've done, instead of removing this and creating a new one, because it was in the concrete, I just bypassed it, and it works really well. So there's really good pressure. I've just hooked it up to the hose here, and yeah, good pressure. You can hardly hear it too. So that, I would say, I call that a success. And now I can gurney and wash cars up in the shed, which is absolutely awesome. Well, that worked a treat. I rolled the rotisserie out. I was a bit worried it's going to get jammed on the drop off there onto the gravel, but I put a board down and just packed it up with a bit of soil, and she's bloody really easy to roll out. So yeah, it worked well, which is good. So now that I've got my pump and I can get the ute out, I'm going to just roll it over on its side and degrease the fuck out of the underneath, and I don't have to just dirty the shed. So yeah, hopefully I can get it back in. It's not going to be that hard. It's got a little bit of a slope, but it hasn't fallen off yet, so I don't think it's going to. So now I'll roll it on its side, give it a good degrease, and then gurney it off. Alright, so I'm just letting that drain off. A lot of the water got inside the quarter panels and things like that, which is inevitable. So I'm just sort of letting that drain off. But I haven't actually shown anyone the underneath of this since I've been since it's on the rotisserie. So I'm just going to quickly show you. I'll tell you what, having a rotisserie is 100% easier. So if anyone's been umming and ahhing about getting it, I suggest do it. It's, as you know, it's a bit hard to get on, but once it's on, it's so much easier. So anyway, this is the underside clean now, and it's, as you can see, it's pretty good. All this area is still pretty factory. It's, you know, it's got the undercoat and the protection that it's already had from Holden. The firewall tunnel is nice and clean. The only sort of areas of rust, which is only surface rust, is down in the sills, down here, and you know that's sort of perfect for KBS coating to be put on anyway. So someone did mention, I think it was Mark on one of the comments on YouTube. He's been giving me a lot of feedback, and he suggested doing a two-pack enamel, and then other people I've spoken to said that the KBS is good for it underneath. So I'll probably go the KBS, I think, in the end, because it does have that rust inhibitor and the etching solution before, which I really like. And because it is quite heavily rusted in certain areas, I think that KBS will be quite good on it underneath, and it'll probably give it more robust protection going forward. So anyway, without getting too deep into it, this is clean now, and that's what I really wanted, so it doesn't fling grease and grime and everything as I'm wire wheeling in the workshop. So right now I'm going to clean it up, wheel it back in, and that's it for now. And then I'm going to wait for the floor pans, the cowl panels, and a few other odds and ends to arrive, and then I'll weld those in, and then I'll enamel the underneath, enamel inside the cabin, and I'll get some epoxy primer to do the firewall and the inside of the cowl, the plenum chamber as well. So anyway, that's it for this episode. It was only a quick one. I just wanted to really just punch another one out because the delays between the others were, you know, 2 or 3 weeks. So I want to try and get them more frequent. So yeah, as per usual, if you liked it, give us a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.